Shalom Akim, Kahalayim La, Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rahakudash, and double honors to the great and apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Thadiyah Shah for the strength and order to make this video. And Yaratas, I find it edifying and exhorting. Edify meaning to build up, and exhort meaning to encourage. So, Yaratas, this is one of Esau's new songs out here. You know, the reason why I say new song is because the fact that, of course, from CV19, everyone's learned the gig when it comes to Esau Eden with how he operates. Of course, you have the hantavirus right now, which is based on rodents and their droppings, which is basically talking about their poo, their shit. But you know, you had the Nipah virus earlier on. That's also something to be aware of, as well as which I believe was based in India. Then you got what was the other one? Yeah, you had a little outbreak in Kent, or from the University of Kent. But yeah, the point is there's multiple viruses out there, which Esau can use in order to orchestrate the chaos, to restrict people once more. Again, getting into that lockdown mode again. Of course, there was the talk on energy lockdowns, but prior to that, there was the quarantine-based lockdowns as well. So yeah, as I'll play this video, you know, get some presets, but really it's the same message again, man. It's just another tactic. I might even name this video Esau's the master tactician, or remember, he is a master tactician. Going into his nature of being a cunning hunter. So let's play this. Then I'm gonna get some precepts. In fact, I'm gonna get the cunning hunter one first. Then I'm gonna play this. This is Genesis 25 and 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. In the NLT, as the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter. He was an outdoors man, but Jacob had a quiet temperament, preferring to stay at home. You know, that's why again we're focusing on Esau now, because you know Esau, you know, Isaac favored Esau, you know, liked his food, and of course Jacob spent time with his mother, Rebecca. So you know, you can see the influence there too, man. But nevertheless, we're focusing on Esau because it says cunning hunter, skillful hunter. Doesn't mean literally, well, yes, literally that is his nature, but you got to translate that to the modern day sense, where he'll use different means, different covert means in order to target Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. All right, so let's get on with this. This is by BBC News. And yeah, it says hantavirus hit cruise ship, leaves Cape Verde after three evacuated. I believe it's Cape Verde, you know, because it comes from one of the Latin tribe countries. But yeah, let's see this.
UK Health Security Agency has revealed that 2 British people are isolating at home after returning from a cruise ship struck. UK Health Security Agency has revealed that 2 British people are isolating at home after returning from a cruise ship struck by an outbreak of hantavirus in which 3 passengers died. A 56-year-old British man, believed to have been among around 20 UK nationals on board, has been evacuated to the Netherlands for treatment. The MV Hondius left Argentina on the 1st of April. It dropped anchor off the coast of Cape Verde on the 3rd of May. The remaining passengers and crew are now sailing to Spain's Canary Islands, where they could be allowed to disembark on Saturday if they still don't have symptoms. Let's speak to our Spain correspondent, Guy Hedgecoe, who's there in Tenerife. Guy, just tell us the latest.
Well, there are now infectious disease specialists on board the boat, along with some members of staff from the World Health Organization. They are testing and assessing the passengers as they make their way here to the Canary Islands. And when they arrive here at the weekend, they will undergo further tests after docking here in Tenerife. and then the authorities will decide if they're given the all clear, what happens to them. There are around a dozen Spanish passengers on board. They are due to be sent to a military hospital in Madrid once they arrive for quarantining, and then the other passengers, if they are given the all clear on their arrival, they will be repatriated, and each country, there are passengers from 23 different countries, each country will decide how to deal with those passengers who have been on board.
Guy, Spanish authorities had agreed that this ship would be allowed to anchor in Tenerife. The president of the Canary Islands opposed that. Has he now been overruled?
Yes, there has been something of a political clash over this. Fernando Clavijo, the president of the Canary Islands, seemed very angry about the Spanish government's decision to allow the boat to dock here. He said that he had not been given enough information by the Spanish authorities when they took that decision, along with the World Health Organization. And he said that there could be a potential risk posed to the people of the Canary Islands by this boat docking here. However, the Spanish authorities, the Spanish central government, has insisted that this is a humanitarian decision taken with the World Health Organization. It said it's a legally binding decision, or a legal obligation for Spain, because the Canary Islands have the facilities and the infrastructure to be able to deal with this situation. Now, the central government, with issues like this, has the final say. So ultimately, there's not a great deal that the regional government can do to stop the boat from docking here in the Canary Islands.
And since this story became aware of this hantavirus being on this boat, Guy, how much have we learnt about this virus and how dangerous it is?
Well, we've heard that this particular strain can be passed between humans. It's a virus that, in theory, is passed to humans from rats, rat droppings and urine and so on. But close contact between humans can also spread this strain of the virus. It does have a relatively high mortality rate, as we've already seen, and causing respiratory problems and potentially being lethal. So it's a virus which is being taken, understandably, very seriously. But I think the authorities are also quite keen to reassure people that this is not something they should be overly alarmed about at the moment, and that the authorities are doing everything they can, certainly with the situation with this boat, to try and contain it.
Well, that's how it all begins. Nothing to be alarmed about until the fear tactics start to begin. So spreading out there in the media and saying, oh, people's dying here and there. Anyways, let me get a preset. This is Exodus 15 and verse 26. It says, and said, if thou, so this is the Most High speaking here, and said, if thou wilt diligently, with careful and persistent effort, hearken to the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy power, and will do that which is right in his sight, and wilt give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord Yahweh that healeth thee. So it's through Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that's how we get healing. And it's also through Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that's how we will also we get diseases and sicknesses, which is a part of the curses too. So we got to remember that these viruses of which Esau is used to orchestrate is also of the Most High's will. The Most High allows them to do that to also be a punishment for Jacob as well. Because remember, it's from the Latin tribes, man. I believe it was the cruise ship was going from Argentina to what's it called? Cape Verde. I was saying it the Spanish way. Cape Verde or Verde or Verde, depending on what Spanish dialect you speak. But yeah, Argentina to one of those places. Let me double check again. Alright, so just double checking. It says from Argentina to Cape Verde. Hold on one more time.
The MV Hondius left Argentina on the 1st of April. It dropped anchor off the coast of Cape Verde on the 3rd of May. The remaining passengers and crew are now sailing to Spain's Canary Islands, where they could be allowed to disembark on Saturday if they still don't have symptoms. Let's.
All right, so that means they were going to Spain initially. All right, but nevertheless, let me get back to the precept. Well, through Exodus 15 and verse 26, those diseases, again, part of the curses. We know in Argentina, that's where there's a lot of Jake there too, man. So, gotta keep that in mind. The Most High is also bringing this judgment. And nevertheless, of it being pointed at Jake, there's still these Edomites, these heathens will also be caught up in the fire as well. Quite literally when it comes to Babylon. But fire is really me referring to the judgment of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Now, of course, for those of us in this truth, we ought to remember this this precept as well. Because it is for those of whom are disobedient to Yahweh Shem Yahushai and are not repenting from their wicked ways. Now, Psalms 118 and verse 5, actually not verse 5, from verse 6, it says, The Lord Yahweh is the Lord Yahweh, which by the way, L-O-R-D in capital refers to Yahweh, is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do unto me? So of course, again, through our strength which is rooted in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, we don't need to be scared of these things because Yahweh Shem Yahushai preserves our vessels and protects us from all of this. I read I'll get to verse 8 now. So it says Psalms 118 and verse 8, it is better to trust in the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai than to put confidence in man. It is best to trust in the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai than to put confidence in princes. So of course, if you put confidence in princes, they're flawed because they're in vessels of which are imperfect. So you shouldn't be trusting in imperfect vessels. You should trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, the perfect vessels or perfect spirits to trust in. All right, let's see. Let me get this now. And the answers I'll close out because it's just a simple point. Esau can use a whole album of viruses to just target Jake as well. All right, where is it? Verse 12? Yeah, verse 12. Ezekiel 5 and 12, which is really talking about the judgment upon Israel. A third part of these shall die with the pestilence, which are hantavirus, nipavirus, corona, or the V's, monkey virus. That was one that I heard lately. Well, since 2022, I think, onwards. But yeah, that's a pestilence. And with famine shall they be consumed in the midst of thee, which that's also coming to considering the situation with the Strait of Hormuz between Iran, the US, and Israel. And the ripple effects, people are going to start to feel that in due time. So it says they're consumed, hence again, the faith that we need to have rooted in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And the third part shall fall by the sword round about thee, Esau's weaponry as well. And I will scatter a third part into all the winds, and I will draw out a sword after them. So the point is just judgment upon judgment, upon you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians. So really it's just to open your eyes that Esau can use multiple V's, to say, all right, you got to take this shot, you got to take that shot, you got to take this shot, you got to take that shot. And so in order to overwhelm people, which is one of the tactics he uses, fear mongering as it goes into. So your answers are, I know it's a quick video, but point is proving that you got to keep your eyes open with these different situations Esau orchestrates, to ensure people lean or are persuaded towards his agenda, which ultimately would then lead to that MOTB, that chip implant, to be taken through. And even with that chip implant, that could be used as a tracker in terms of to monitor people to see if they got the V or if they don't have the V. What was that movie again? Songbird or something? Songbird 23? Songbird. Let me double check. Hold on. Yeah, so this is the movie. Songbird Songbird, it was made in 2020. It says a dystopian thriller set in 2024 where COVID-19 has mutated into COVID-23, boasting a 56% mortality rate. But the reason why I brought it out is because the guy said he had like a wristband or something around his forearm saying, I'm immune, I'm immune. So in that time, Esau could say, you got to take that chip, to prove that you're immune. So imagine, there's multiple avenues he can take, or he can make people take, to ensure that, or to make people think that, oh, okay, they want to prove themselves to Esau Edom. When we ain't got nothing to prove to Esau Edom. All we have is to prove to Yahweh Shem Yahshua that we're worthy servants. That's really it. And of course, to do that is to then reject the MOTB, say no, and if it be so that we die, then we die. We know that our spirits are going to go unto Yahweh Shem Yahshua, and of course, we had a worthy sacrifice. We made our bodies a living sacrifice, quite literally. So anyways, Yara Tazai found it edifying. Shalawam, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Brakthaka, Halaim La Yahweh Shem Yahshua Bashim Kudash. Once more, double honors to the great Muslim apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Shalawam, once more, Shalawam.